stuck there. If you get sentenced to go to prison, provided you haven't caused harm or loss to someone, in terms of a common law offence, it's that piece of paper that you've consented to be stuck to your arse that goes to prison. And if you unwittingly consented to be that person, if you didn't, then you may not have gone to prison, depending on what it was, because they can't get you a contract. That's how important it is whether you choose to be that person or not. Because the person is always liable. The banks made sure the person was liable, because they created that whole system. It was created by a guy called Colonel House in America, who worked for the Rothschilds banking dynasty. And he came up with this great scam in order to keep commerce going, in order to give corporations power. It was only in the middle of the 19th century that corporations actually got the same, became persons in the middle of the 19th century, because basically a lot of businessmen sitting around and they were all liable, because it used to be that, you know, men and women wouldn't consent to corporations, that they would be liable. So a bunch of businessmen got together and they were going to say, make a road system in a town, or do a sewage system. It's going to cost a lot of money, or build a railroad or something like that. That was a really risky thing to do, you know, because they'd be personally liable, you know, under common law. And if you cause harm or loss, you know, you're not going to lose. So they didn't really want that. So they had to get some pretty sharp, canny lawyers together to say, hold on, we really want to get all this investment together, and the corporations really want to expand. We need to have the same status as a person, then we can buy and sell property. And then we've got what everybody wants with what I call addiction, with corporate syndrome, is they want control, but without responsibility. That's what these guys want, is control without responsibility. They want to affect your lives without having any responsibility at all. And that was what was given to them with legislation. So what you've got with commercial law is you've got another form of law that's based on a fiction that you consent to, where they can make the rules up as they go along. They can invent them by consent. They can go along with it. Whether there's any justice in it or not hasn't got anything to do with it. It's got to do with profit, and it's got to do with you believing in the substance of money. Because that substance of money is energy. And that energy is the sweat of your brow labour that we all put into it. That's what it is. It all evolves around that. You consent to that, that's how they milk your energy, is because you believe in that. You do something for that, that's your sweat of your brow labour. That becomes a little fiction on that piece of paper or on computer screens and all the rest of it. That's how it works. That's your energy is translated into that. When it's translated into that, it can be traded on the stock markets, it can be used. And it works on how you think about it, what you conceive about it, because you believe that's your assumption, you go along with it. It's quite a simple assumption. I can remember as a kid, I got hooked into money really quite early because I had a thing about sweets. When my parents said to me, "We'll some sweets," it set me up for a lifetime of addiction, so it became alcohol. And, you know, so I got something back for it, you know, and I thought, oh, can I have some money to buy some sweets? And it didn't take long. Yes, yeah, right. Worked out the numbers, yeah, that's right. It's the program's in there. It's all in there. Add, subtract, all the other stuff. Then I needed to get the language together. Yeah, so I went to school and I got all that together. So it's all part of that program for you to exist in a corporate world, in a fiction. It's a complete fiction. It's not as, you know, in your heart, it doesn't feel right. Because when you look at the consequences, it starts getting really dodgy. So that's kind of like the commercial world. What I want to come into now, I know I'm really blagging through this as best I can because there's a lot of stuff to cover, and what I'm trying to do is inspire you guys to, you know, do your own research, you know, because I've only been at this for like 18 months. There's guys further up the road than me, but I'm just trying to maybe put in your heads that there is a way of looking at the way the world is, and you can do something about it. You really can do something about it. You can do something about it by not being compliant with it, by waking up, because most of us are asleep when we're compliant. I went to the post office the other day with a friend of mine, and he had to go up to this screen, and he had to type out what it is that you want. So I thought, I want to send some letters, we call it delivery. It said special delivery. I thought, well, that's got to be nearest it. Pressed it, waited, went up to the queue, then I came back. The guy says, oh no, this is just special delivery. Now you need customer, you can counter services. That's what you should have pressed. You'll have to go back to the machine again. So, all right, so we're back to the machine, pressed it, went up to the thing. You want to set up recorded delivery? Oh no, you can't do that. You have to go to something else. It's like, what am I doing here? You know, this is a corporation. The post office is JP Morgan, by the way. It's just been bought out by that dynasty, and they own like DLH or whatever, UK Mail and all the rest of it. And JP Morgan have got what, you know, that used to happen in the music business a lot. You know, you sign like 5 bands, you promote one of them, and the other 4, that's the competition. You just sit on them. They go over it. And you promote this one, and it's great. That's how they work it. And by the way, your person written in capital letters is where you get the term capitalism from. That's what it means. That's that system, and it's based on legislation. There's a whole lot of other stuff to go into, but I want to get into the psychology so you can kind of see the processes that are afoot here before I go into the trust law bit. There's a DVD which I recommend a lot of guys to get, which is called The Corporation. And if you want these DVDs, see me afterwards. I'll burn you off copies, and we'll meet up somewhere and I can give them to you, or I can work something out maybe with Rob, or some of you guys can work out. Because people need to see this stuff, you know, and you need to be independent and watch this and go, oh, because I'm not that bright, you know. You might see angles that I don't see. And the more of us that do this, the more original it's going to come, you know. It's like, I'm not here as any teacher or anything, I'm just relaying what I know, you know. And there's areas that I don't know, you guys can tell me something, you know. That's what's important. We're all in this together. It's not about status, which is where you get statutes from. All acts, statutes and instruments and bylaws, they're all from corporations. They can only be given the force of law if you consent. If you don't consent, they can't be enforced. So if someone comes to you, I did it the other day, I'll just deviate a bit just to prove it, because I need to back this stuff up. If you go to YouTube, there's a video called Councils, Courts and Con Men. And it's about a guy who went to a council tax hearing because he didn't pay his council tax. Because the council tax bill was sent to a person. And he decided, well, right, I'm not going to be a person. And he wasn't going to be the agent of the person, because remember, as a human being, or as a man, you're the agent to the person. So what he did is, in common law, you're allowed to have a thing called a lay advisor. Which doesn't mean to say you have to be a member of the Law Society or anything like that. You just be a mate, a guy that's going to represent you. The reason you want a guy to represent you in court is because they're barristers, they're going to want to press your buttons. Because you've got something personal at stake. If you've got a lay advisor doing it for you, he's going to be cool. Because the guy that's prosecuting, he's doing it for the state, he's going to be cool, he's cha-ching, he's making money out of it anyway. All he's got to do is just press a few buttons and get you... Most people convict themselves. Really, most people really convict themselves when they're dealing with it. They go, yeah, that's a fact, I was part of that, oh, I did that, they convict themselves. It's psychology. But anyway, the councils, courts and con men, what you have is a commercial court. That's what it is. The fact is that anybody who's got any authority in this country, they have to swear an oath of allegiance to Her Majesty the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. And that activates her oath that she swore to the people, men and women of England and Wales, to uphold the law of the land, it's common law, natural law, and the customs and traditions of the people of England and Wales. That's what she swore to uphold. Otherwise she wouldn't have become queen. That's it. She wanted to be queenie, that's what you've got to swear. And so anybody, or the judiciary, or the constabulary, anyone with any authority, all the judges and all the rest of it, they've all got to swear an oath to her. And that activates that oath, which keeps it in common law. It's not got a commercial thing. A constable, for example, is there as a peacekeeper. That's what his gig is. It's plain and simple. He's there to prevent a breach of the peace. Or if anybody's committed any murders or there's some theft or something, that's what it's about. He's not there as a policy enforcement officer. That's where you get the term police from. Which means he's enforcing the policies of the private corporation. And what happens is a member of parliament will go, oh, come, it's a really good idea. A £50 fine for someone dropping a cigarette butt. We'll put that into an act of parliament and we'll get our, you know,